everyone. I'm Durrell.
I'm Elliot.
And we're Durrelliott. Today we have a special guest, Capri. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Of course. My name is Capri Everitt, and I'm a singer and songwriter.
Sweet, Capri, sweet.
Thanks.
So we have a few questions for you if you don't mind.
Of course.
So the first question is, you mentioned you're a singer. So so you had the chance to sing the national anthem in 80 countries between the years of 2015 and 16. Can you explain to us what that was like?
So, I was part of this, or my family and I started this event called Around the World in 80 Anthems, where we traveled to 80 countries, and I sang each country's national anthem in their national language, and then kind of the point of all of that was to raise money for a charity called SOS Children's Villages.
That's so cool. So you said you sung it in 80 different languages?
No, so I learned 80 different countries' national anthems, which ended up being in 41 different languages.
Whoa, that's pretty
some
cool.
of them, thanks. There were like 16 in Spanish that I had to learn, and like 2 in French and stuff. So.
Was that pretty hard? I can imagine.
It was definitely very hard. I don't really know how 5th grade me did it.
5th grade? What?
Yeah.
You did that in 5th grade? How?
Yeah. I learned them all in grade 5, and then we did the thing in grade 6, and we spent 3 to 4 days per country, so it was pretty fast.
Oh, can we ask you a little bit? What was it like during visiting different countries? Did you have a chance to walk around and stuff, or was it just strictly business?
We definitely we stayed with a bunch of people in a bunch of different countries that were from the charity that we were raising money for. So we got to they showed us around the cities that we were staying in. So we really got a feel of what the country was like.
That's pretty cool. So out of those countries you visited, which would you say is your favorite?
That's a pretty hard one. I really liked Japan was pretty cool, to be honest, and then a lot of countries in South America were really kind of amazing to be able to visit too, and the people were really nice there, so that was nice.
That's pretty cool. So could you ever see yourself living in one of those countries?
I don't know if I would live. I would love to live in Canada or the US because I live in Canada right now, but I would definitely want to visit those places again and stay there for longer.
That's pretty cool. So, you say you like it over there in Canada?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Where are you guys from?
From the States, United States.
Fun.
Yeah. I've been to Canada twice, I think so.
Where?
Was it Quebec? No. It was It wasn't Ontario.
It wasn't Ontario, no.
Was it Toronto?
Hamilton.
Yeah, that's super close to Toronto. I've never been there before, but I've been to Toronto a few times. It's the other side from where I live.
Yeah, tell us about that. That's one place I always want to visit.
Yeah, that's actually where I recorded a lot of my songs because my producers are based there. I'm in Vancouver, which is a 5-hour flight away, but my producers are there, so I went there to record 3 of my first kind of songs, and then I flew my producers came to Vancouver the second time I made songs. So yeah.
Pretty cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you were talking about the national anthems. So you're actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for most national anthems sung in their host countries in 1 year. So can you tell us?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How does that feel to have made a world record at such a young age and seeing your name in the record book?
It's pretty cool. I mean, I still have the Guinness World Record. It's put up in my house in the wall downstairs, and every time someone comes in, they're like, "Whoa, what's that?" So it's kind of a really cool story to tell. But we went into the offices in London, where they're based, and they had no idea. We didn't make an appointment or anything, and at first they were turning us away, and they were like, well, you can't just come in and get a record, that's not how it works. But then we told the receptionist the story, and then the people from the offices like came down to meet us, and then they invited us up to their office, and I got to do an interview and stuff like that. And then they put me in the 2017 book, so it was really cool.
So do you ever think that record will be broken?
I doubt it. It was very intense traveling to those 80 countries, because the record is actually for most national anthems sung in their countries in 1 year. So if someone were to beat my record, they would have to do over 80 anthems within a year, like in all those different countries. So I personally don't see anyone breaking it in the near future.
Yeah,
Just imagine that you were in the 6th grade doing
you
this.
did that in 6th grade.
I can barely sing a song on the radio.
I could remember a song. Or like,
Yeah.
I wasn't that influenced, man.
So can you talk about like how mentally strong you have to be to do that? Crazy.
I mean, it took a lot of practice. I had to practice like 3 hours a day, like these different songs in these different languages, and I had to like try and make sure that I wasn't pronouncing anything wrong, because if I went into these places and like sang the national anthem wrong, like I don't think they would be very happy with that, because people take it very seriously in a lot of places. And then in some places, like we were in Serbia, and I had this interview with like the news there, and I was riding on the train because that's how we got there, and I was trying to learn the anthem because I didn't like learn it that far beforehand, and then I found out that I had to sing it that night, like in the country, and I was kind of freaking out about that a little bit, but I managed to learn it, and I still don't know how, because it must have been so like nerve-wracking for me, but yeah.
Man, that's crazy. So, like, what were your like? Did you have a lot of nerves? And like, well, how did the pressure feel on you when you were doing those?
Yeah, so I definitely got used to singing in front of more people. By the end, I sang in front of we ended off in the US. I sang at a Washington Nationals baseball game, and then I sang at a Toronto Blue Jays game. And so for those, I was definitely more nervous, because it's like 20,000 people that you're singing in front of, like 20,000, 40,000. So that was a lot of people to sing in front of, but luckily I had experience singing in front of more, like lots of people around the world, so I definitely got used to it. And then the more you're used to it, like the less nerves you get, I guess.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
were these events all sporting events, or just what were they?
So it depended on the country. So for some of the countries, we had like these really big elaborate events planned by the people in the country from the charities. So like for instance, in Uruguay, I sang at like a big festival, which was pretty cool. They like got me on stage, and I opened their event. So I opened like quite a few events when we were going around the world to the different countries. And so I would be singing in front of like hundreds of people. And then in some countries, I would sing in front of like less crowds, but then like 5 different news stations. So it depended on the country, but most of the time I got a pretty good response.
Pretty cool.
That's honestly sounds like a fun story to tell.
Yeah, kind of is.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'd be so nervous up there. I'd probably throw up on the stage.
Yeah, honestly.
I think I almost did a few times, but.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like you saying, you gotta be mentally tough to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have forgot the words.
Oh, I was so terrified of forgetting the words. Actually, this past summer, I was singing at a big netball tournament. It's like this sport that they play in England. And it was in Liverpool, and I had to sing 16 different national anthems throughout 4 days, and I had to sing 4 times a day to open these netball games. And there were it was in a big stadium. There were thousands of people there. I was always like on TV, like, and they were playing it around the world on the TVs. So I had to remember those 16 different national anthems, and I had to learn some, like Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka. And I was so terrified that I was going to forget the words, and then all the people from the country that were watching me were going to like boo me or something. But thankfully that didn't happen.
Have you ever sung like ever spoke a different language in a different country by accident?
I feel like I've confused countries before, because some people would request like different anthems, and I feel like a few times I might have sung the wrong, especially in like the Spanish countries where their anthems are very, very similar and they're all in the same language. I feel like I might have messed up a few of those a few times, but I try not to.
Oh, yeah.